Hi, it's the Lipstick Gal. Thanks so much for watching today. I have been putting off busting into this. This is the Viseart Grande Pro Volume 3. This came in my Beautylish Lucky Bag. I don't know that I've really been putting it off. The Grande Pro 3 is very colorful. I think the first two volumes of this have been, the first one was more like a neutral mix of everyday colors. The second one was like a little bit deeper and darker. And this one here is definitely a bright one. And if you look at it, let me flip up the plastic. It's very, very, very bright. And my goal is today to try colors that I normally wouldn't wear and push myself in what feels comfortable to me. So yeah, we'll see where we end up. I'm slightly concerned. I'm probably going to bring in some other shades. I don't know if I'm going to pull in just other shades from Viseart. I have two other 12-pan Viseart palettes, but let me rummage around, kind of collect what I think I might need, and we'll get started. But first of all, thank you for watching today. Thank you for being subscribed. If you haven't, would you please subscribe? And join me as I put shadows I normally don't put on my face. One thing I haven't done is I haven't swatched any of these. And I'm a little bit curious about, there's one row here that's kind of intriguing to me. And I love these more army greens. But this right here would definitely be me pushing myself a little bit. I probably incorporate into that some of the mustardy tones and maybe more of these warmish brown colors in here. Let's see how we do. I think I'm going to start with this shade right down here, and I'm just going to work that in the crease. I will tell you, I've always appreciated the matte formula from Viseart. I think they have a beautiful formula, and I think the mattes are really great. And I know they're expensive, but I feel like if you're this good, you can afford to charge that sort of a price. I was worried that this, because it was so colorful, it would be something that would intimidate me enough that I wouldn't use it. And I thought the best way to get over that is just to jump in with 2 feet and decide to do a colorful look. And I'm sure you've noticed, if you've watched any of my videos, that colorful looks in me, I only go so colorful, and most people who wear colorful eyeshadows will go, it's not colorful at all. But for me it is. If I'm wearing kind of like a deeper kind of a green color, it's never going to be a bright green. Well, up to this point it hasn't been a bright green. But I do feel very comfortable in neutrals. So my goal is to step outside my neutral comfort zone, but I will lay down a neutrally warmish shade here and see where we end up. Time to move into the green row. I'm going to stay on that bottom row, and I'm going to pick up this kind of mossy army green here. I feel like I have too much on my brush. I do have a color switch right here that I, if I feel like I picked up too much and I'm worried that now it's time to start blending and I'm just going to get everywhere, I'll knock off what's left on the brush, and then I can use this brush to blend in the color how and where I want it. Going back into that first shade I used just to kind of help blend the edge of this green shade that I've got going on here. I like that this palette can deliver a really pretty look that's within my comfort zone, but that's not what today's about. I was worried that at first look it looked kind of rainbow-like to me, and I was like, oh no, what do I do with this? So far, it's treating me great. There's a shade in here, I just stuck my finger in it. It's like, oh, that's pretty. And then I just started swiping it on my eye. It's this one right here. It's very pigmented. They're all pigmented, but it's really pretty. For some reason, I've really been digging like all matte looks recently, but I'm not sure I want to keep this all matte. I feel kind of like going for this right here. It looks white on camera, but it's the palest butter yellow ever. And I think that maybe that might be nice. Oh, maybe not. Maybe we're gonna have to blend it right here on the inner corner. Oh, it's very pigmented, and I'm kind of getting it everywhere. Okay, smaller brush for more targeted application. I'm going to use a totally clean brush. This is the Sonia G Crease 1. And I'm just going to go in the crease here and see if I can get these to blend a little bit better into each other. So I'm going to use that first shade on the lower lash line. I'm going to complement this look from the Viseart Sultry Muse palette. I'm going to use this more golden shade here. A lot of the rest of these can be a little more warm in tone or really, really, really cool. And this one kind of walks the line between, you know, it's warm, but not too much. So I'm just going to throw a little bit of this right over the top. You know, maybe I need to pick it up with my finger. Oh yeah, that's better. I feel like I'm not getting the sort of sparkly effect I'm wanting. I may pull out a couple of Sydney Gray shadows and see what happens. I'm going to use this shade right here. This is called Be the Sunshine. I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but we're going to see. I'm going to go back into that darker green and kind of use it right out here and blend it with the gold. One of the other things I'm going to do is I'm going to take this very teeny tiny brush, it's the Wayne Goss 08, and use the darkest green. Let me show it to you. It's this right here. And I'm going to use that on this brush as liner, just because I don't have a liner that's this shade. I was thinking it'd be fun to kind of line the eye with a dark, dark green. It's very pretty. This is probably one of my favorite brushes. I love it so, so much. It really does help if you're tight lining from above, just to really shove, you know, whether it's liner or shadow down into the lash line. I'm also going to take just a hint of that gold and put it just like right in the center here. All right, so I'm going to throw on some mascara. I'll be right back. So this is the finished eye look. I feel like my left eye is a lot more what I was hoping for. And I got a little muddy in here from just too many colors and not being as careful with placement, but that's operator error. But this is kind of what I wanted both eyes to look like. And I think it turned out really good. So let me show you the shades that I used. I used a lot of this shade here. I did end up throwing just a hair of this in the crease to warm it up after I was done placing all of my greens. I do have this on most of the lid, and then I threw this shade here with my finger kind of in the center to the outer half. And then this I have as liner both on the top and this shade right here as liner on the bottom. I did use some of this pale butter yellow. I know it looks white on camera, kind of like in the inner corner and on the inner third of my upper lid. I really love the way these blended, and I think that because they are so pigmented, I need to be really careful and extremely specific. I'm used to just kind of being like, you know, like brushes everywhere and I'll just buff it out. I think that if I can be more specific in placement and use smaller brushes, I like to use things that are about this size right here. Like these are two of my favorite brushes, but they're rather big for something that is as pigmented as this. And I think it helps to use a much smaller brush. Even this one here, this is a Sonia G Crease 1, because it comes to such a small little point, was great for getting in specific areas. So I feel like if I can take the time to use smaller brushes, I'm going to get a lot more use out of this. They blended beautifully. They're extremely pigmented. Even that really, the lightest shade in there, that butter yellow, was like, it's great. The one color I did use that was not from this palette, I did want some shimmer. So I pulled in this gold and I have it kind of going down the center and right underneath. This is called Be the Sunshine. It's from Sydney Grace and it's a pressed pigment and it's remarkable. So there you go. I really think that I'm going to get a lot of use out of this palette. I just have to get past the point where every time I see it, all I see is like the bright blue, the bright teal, the bright green, the red, the orange, and this yellow. Because I think the rest of it, it's not as intense as it looks, especially up close. If I can just visually you know, ignore some of those, I won't be as intimidated because this is a really pretty eye with the exception of one shade. It all comes from this palette. I would love to know what is outside of your makeup comfort zone. For me, it's more colorful eyes. And I know that a lot of people are gonna look at me and go, that's not colorful. And I'm like, I use green, I promise, I'm trying. But I'm gonna continue to dip my toes into more colorful looks. And I do like that you have those rows in this palette where you have monochromatic yellows, oranges, you know, burgundies and reds and peaches and things like that, all the way across to blues and greens. So I'm definitely gonna start dipping my toes and maybe stick to a row and make a monochromatic look. One of my favorite YouTubers, Andrea Matteliana, does that a lot, and I love her eye looks. I'm just kind of like, that might be too much for me, but you know what? You never know until you try. So I'm gonna be doing more of that. Thank you so much for watching today. I would love to know what pushes you outside of your makeup comfort zone. Is it a certain shade? Is it a certain formula? Is it a certain type of makeup? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.